There's a problem in politics right now,
Don't let politicians take away your right.
where politicians act upon hypotheticals.
Zoran Mandami is gonna be like Bill de Blasio on steroids.
Now, voters cast ballots based on speculation.
Hamas saw Harris' anti-Israel statements and will use it as a green light to keep murdering Israelis.
Pre-politics, an issue detailed over 400 years ago in Act 2, Scene 1 of Shakespeare's Julius Caesar. This is the Numbnuts Show. I am your host, Numbnuts, and today we'll be looking at the political themes in Brutus's monologue through a modern lens. As we'll see in a minute, Brutus explains that to save Rome, Caesar must die. Yet, in his monologue, Brutus doesn't describe Caesar's crime. He describes his own predictions of what Caesar could become. This is how the politics, in a 425-year-old play, are still relevant today.
It must be by his death.
Brutus starts his monologue with certainty. To save Rome from Caesar's crimes, he must kill Caesar. But Caesar at this point has done nothing wrong, so killing him, despite his innocence, is something we'll watch Brutus try to justify.
And for my part, I know no personal cause to spurn at him, but for the general.
Brutus admits that he has no personal reason to kill Caesar, but for the greater good of Rome.
He would be crowned. How that might change his nature, there's the question.
The use of the word might here marks the start of Brutus's speculation. He's no longer thinking about Caesar as a person, he's thinking about how Caesar's character could change with power. And for those of you at home wondering when modern politics is going to be tied into all this, we see this happen in modern politics. Take a look at this clip.
Read my lips. No new taxes.
I bet you can guess what happened after that. Once Bush won the presidency, lo and behold, there were new taxes. Now, I know some of you must be thinking, this was in 1988, and that's not exactly modern. But as modern voters, after seeing scenarios like that time and time again, we start thinking about how politicians' promises might change after being elected. Due to repeated betrayal, it's easier to start speculating, like we see Brutus doing.
It is the bright day that brings forth the adder, and that craves wary water.
Brutus uses this line to express the gravity. At this point, in determining Rome's future, he must be careful. When we as voters cast our ballots in the 21st century, we must seriously consider who we want to vote for. On the bright election day, we need to walk warily, as our decision will weigh on this country for the next 4 years.
Crown him that, and then I grant we put a sting in him, that at his will he may do danger with.
Brutus here says, crown Caesar the adder, enable him to become the adder, then he should be killed, as he may harm Rome. By now, Brutus is ready to kill Caesar just because Caesar may do danger. Now, take a look at this very recent ad.
Of the National Action Network.
Bill de Blasio, the worst mayor of all time. And he is endorsing Zoran Mandami. Zoran Mandami is gonna be like Bill de Blasio on steroids. Double the trouble.
Enable Mamdani to become Bill de Blasio, or vote Sliwa before it's too late. Do you see the parallel? The voter has the chance to not kill, but cast a ballot for an opponent. In this ad, Sliwa is warning New Yorkers about what Mamdani could be if elected. So voters need to kill him politically, with their vote, before he becomes the danger.
The abuse of greatness is when it disjoins remorse from power. And to speak truth of Caesar, I have not known when his affections swayed more than his reason.
Now we see Brutus playing devil's advocate, reasoning Caesar's character would suggest he would not disjoin remorse from power, and would rule with reason. He's explaining how Caesar could be a good person, but might turn out to be a bad leader.
But 'tis a common proof that lowliness is young ambition's ladder, whereto the climber upward turns his face. But when he once attains the utmost round, he then unto the ladder turns his back, looks into the clouds, scorning the base degrees by which he did ascend.
There's a lot to unpack with this line. Being on the bottom is a strong motivator to climb the ambition ladder. But Brutus explains, once you reach the top, you forget about what it was like at the bottom, becoming scornful even. This, to me, is a strong connection to populism, a politician running for the common man, but once they're elected, they forget all about the common men that voted them into office in the first place. I've seen this clip around recently, and I think it'll help explain the situation a little better.
We won with poorly educated. I love the poorly educated. We're the smartest people. We're the most loyal people. And you know what I really am happy about? Because I've been saying it for a long time. 46% with the Hispanics. 46%. Number one with Hispanics.
Now, the viral poorly educated comment isn't what I'm after. No. I'm looking at the I love Hispanics line by Trump. His polling with Hispanics was up. They are his bottom rungs. And once he's used them to get to the top, well, I would consider that pretty scornful.
So Caesar may, then, less he may, prevent.
Brutus now takes full responsibility for saving Rome from Caesar. The monologue is almost over, but the last piece I'm looking for is right at the end. I'll let it play.
And since this quarrel will bear no color for the thing that he is, fashion it thus, that what he is, augmented, would run to these and these extremities. And therefore, think him like a serpent's egg, which hatched would, as his kind, grow mischievous, kill him in the shell.
Brutus has now fully convinced himself that Caesar needs to be stopped. Envisioning him as a serpent's egg sealed the deal. Brutus now believes if Caesar isn't stopped, he will hatch into a serpent. Now, notice the word choice in this line.
Which hatched would, as his kind, grow mischievous.
As a quick aside, I'm not really sure what the camera is doing here, but I apologize. Now, in the earlier lines, I pointed out Brutus's speculation. Now, Brutus is convinced Caesar will develop into a monster, and his language is much stronger. He's now taking his speculation and he's convinced himself it's true. There's no more might, it's which hatched would. It is certain. Now, see if you can spot the strong language in this clip.
Wonder where John McCain would take the economy? Look behind you. John McCain wants to continue George Bush's economic policies. As president, he'd provide no tax breaks to 101 million Americans, but keep tax breaks for companies that ship our jobs overseas.
Did you catch that? It was quick, so if you missed it, I don't blame you. Let's get a replay on that.
As president, he'd provide no tax breaks to 101 million Americans.
He'd provide, as in he would. That's certain language. The political ad operates on guesses and speculation, but frames it as if it were a guarantee. Now, voters can convince themselves that it's true, much like we've watched Brutus do in this monologue, even if it might not be. And once they've convinced themselves, that's the worst part of it all. We can see points throughout the monologue of Brutus acting like he's doing a favor. He's saving Rome from a tyrant-to-be. Now, when a modern-day voter sees an ad that says McCain will tax your healthcare benefits, and they convince themselves that this speculation is the truth, when they cast their ballot for Obama, in their eyes, they are doing the country a favor by saving it from McCain's policies. And that's the issue. This problem will never be fixed because the voter who allows themselves to be convinced that speculation should be taken as fact, when they go to vote, they think they're doing the country a favor. They are stopping whatever hypothetical they're convinced will take place. I have one last clip to show you.
President Trump spoke at a campaign rally in Michigan yesterday. He's warning voters of the fate of the world if President Biden is reelected. Watch this.
If you don't want illegal alien criminals crawling through your windows and ransacking your drawers, then you must vote for the fact that we have to throw crooked Joe Biden.
After seeing this, when a voter votes for Trump, they can say they voted the right way, as in their mind, they have voted the right way. They are, as Fox News puts it, saving the fate of the world by not voting for Joe Biden. The news uses fear to convince voters of hypothetical situations. So now, all across America, we have these people who vote based on fake promises and what-ifs, and they, like Brutus, think they're the country's guardian angel, stopping whatever politician might ruin the country instead of making an educated, rational decision. If you too wonder how we got into this mess when you look at the last decade of American politics, it's because we've allowed the politicians to convince us of hypotheticals. If we want change, if we want capable politicians, we need to be voting based on ability. Looking at the 2024 election, for example, Trump was president once before. He made it clear to everybody what kind of politician he was. On the other side of the ballot, Kamala Harris was senator before she became vice president. Look at what bills she voted on in the past, whether or not you agree with her past policies. Voting this way will not only give voters a more complete picture of the candidates they're voting for, but it will also create a culture of holding politicians accountable, as it would be their past that wins elections, not insincere promises for the future. So please, next time you vote, do yourself a favor. Don't let the politicians convince you what the future will look like. Don't be like Brutus. Thanks for watching.